Hi, so we're going to have a bumper question time session today where I've collected all your questions together and I'm going to share my views, and of course they're my views, they're my experience. You don't need to believe a word that I say, and they may be a useful perspective for you. So the first question is, when I meet with somebody and I want to have a conversation with them, how do I create it as a powerful conversation? Because sometimes people say to me, can we have a chat? Can we meet for coffee? So if you want to make it a powerful conversation, then do literally that. Say to them, I would love to spend some time with you. What we could do is we could have a cup of coffee. But what if we put aside 2 hours, just me and you, to explore, to dive deep, to create something extraordinary? What would make that conversation extraordinary for you? If you use that kind of language, then maybe it becomes a powerful conversation. Maybe it doesn't become a cup of coffee. Maybe you could find a room, a space, a powerful space for you both to create. Coming from that space, I think that's what makes it a powerful conversation. Another question I've been asked is, I have sessions with people, they tell me it's amazing, they tell me it changes their lives, and then I never hear from them again. So I think there's two things possibly going on here. There may be many more, but there are two things come up for me. One is, sometimes people don't like telling the truth. They like being polite. They like being kind. So maybe the brutal truth is the session was okay. The session might have been valuable to them, but maybe it just wasn't as deep and as powerful as they wanted. There's a second dimension, which is how are you creating that ongoing conversation? Often I see coaches work and they do create a really powerful intervention, and then it's complete. What I like to do in my conversations is, as breakthroughs come up, as changes show up, as the client goes, I get it. In those moments, I like to explore them. What becomes possible? What will you do differently over the next week? What will you do differently over the next 2 weeks? And then at the end of the conversation, I have an opportunity to say to them, you said you would do X and Y over the next couple of weeks. Would you find it valuable if we checked in 2 weeks' time? Would you find it valuable if we followed up to see how that showed up for you? Then you've got a conversation, then you're creating momentum for the client. They feel valued, they feel like you're serving them, and you have an opportunity to create a second conversation. So they're the two things that come forward for me. One might be a brutal truth, and one might simply be the mechanism of creating momentum in the conversation. So another question that you asked was, what happens when you're working with somebody and right up front they say, how much do you charge? What I like to say is, today in this conversation, I'm focused on serving you. Maybe we can come back to that in another time, but today I really want to focus on you. I'm flattered that you've asked, but today I want to invest in you. The focus is on you. This is your time. What do you do when a client says no? I love that. Thank you for saying no. Thank you for having the courage to make a powerful decision. Let's take everything off the table for the moment. Let's come back to where you are. What would serve you most powerfully in this moment? And by doing that, you're shifting the energy. There's no pressure of a sale. There's no pressure to commit to anything. You're honoring their decision, and then you're restarting, you're resetting the gauge, you're resetting the whole conversation back to zero, and then begin coaching again. And it may be the client is complete. It may be you're not destined to work together, and that's okay. But by taking everything off the table, and you go back to coaching, you can create a deeper rapport and then really work out what the right way forward is.